Oh, I'm so rude. Peace, YouTube. This is Fleurbrun. I'm coming to you today with a new topic of discussion. Check on it. Check on it. I'll wait until a few. Hey, Blue Angel. Angel. Hey, my loves. I'm back. Check on it. So I have a new topic of discussion. You know how I get it in, and anytime I get intel, I kind of want to talk about it before it becomes something that is, hey, sister, hey, Sister Sirius, hey, my love, hey, Starseed, hey, Joy Music, hey, 1028 Awakenings, hey, Andrea, Louisa, SS33. Are you Nega? I love that SS flex, Chrissy. Hey, Saki. What if Wolverine? Anisha. Hey, AJ. Hey, Andy girl, Shelly. Hey, Mina. Hey, Andrea. Hey, Adriana. Hey, that girl, Figgy. Hey, my loves. So check on in. So I want to get in a quick conversation. So also for those who got the code yesterday, the red code, that is something I had to share via Patreon. So big up to those. A lot of people came to Patreon based on that. I wanted to just say certain things I cannot do, and I will say that, and it's to keep it real. Someone was murdered based on the intel that I gave. So, rest in power to those who were strong enough and vigilant enough to share certain things. But this is a real deal, family. We're in a very pinnacle point, and sometimes when we share things, the people that risk their lives giving us the intel, I really want you to give them respect and send layers of protection to those who do so. I mean, people share information and they risk their lives, and sometimes it isn't in vain, but they lose their lives because of it. So one of the intellis was murdered based on the intel I shared yesterday. And we want to make sure we always send protection to those who do share intel. I want to put that out there first. So, and that's why I did not come on live here to share anything. Sometimes I only share privately because I have to lessen the blow of how much information I give to the populace. There's people here that are literally for the agenda, and they watch and they listen and they spy to be able to covertly make sure that they X out those who give information. And based on what we share, they know exactly where the leaks are coming from because they set people up. Okay, so I just wanted to say that rest in power to a divine sun star who lost his life, giving us a lot of information, and it wasn't in vain. Okay, so thank you, my love. Thank you, Elijah. So let's get into to a new conversation. Please put a like as you come in the door. It has been helping. They leave me alone when you put likes. So when you come in the door, just as a common courtesy, I would appreciate it. That's all. So we're going to talk about the Insectilians and how the Insectilians are literally being cloaked. No, Jax is okay. Jax is fine. It isn't Jax. I just want to let everyone know Jax is fine. Jax is all good in the hood. Okay. Okay. So it isn't Jax. Jax is fine. Just to let you know. Okay. So let's just get into the intel as we can. So, we talk about many of the different beings, the celestial beings that we interface with. And one thing you will denote and you will notice is even in the extraterrestrial ET UFO community, there is the least amount of conversation about Insectilians, even though they are dominating and they are part of the reason why there's so much inceptist, dark, nano technology that's being, promoted and instituted out here. Okay, when I talk about nanobots, nanotechnology, we talk about everything connected to those inceptous ways of kind of infiltrating the biosphere of many people based on you eating geoengineered food. Hey, Yafi, geoengineered foods. When you're consuming things, when you're breathing in the chemtrails, which have layers and layers of gases and chemicals, and a lot of that is nano nanofibers, and we've talked about why they've been promoting certain dietary preferences on the populace to make you more inceptible. Okay, I don't want to get too much into that. Rather, I want to kind of keep focused on what that is. So late over the last couple months, previous to many people becoming aware, many big up to all those who've joined this platform, who've been a part of this for a while. You know, because I was privy of the intel. Hey, pretty monotheism. Oh God! Oh, find me a code. Yes, thank you, pretty monotheism. Find another word for the nano. Yeah, so I could figure out how to have another word for it. Because remember, previous to the cucarachis, I was the first to tell you that the cucarachis was coming, and I showed you the mask that I had previously. And why I did that is because I wanted you guys to have the heads up, to be able to have, hey Nora, to have something that was going to assist you, because I knew it was going to be a requirement, okay? Because we had gotten intel already that the cucarachis was disseminated and coming, and I knew that they would have that. So before, you know, it became mainstream, many of you went out and got particularly certain masks. Now, many of us from the prepper community, and if you are on my Patreon, you've already seen the gas mask. I've had that for a number of years. It's military grade mask. It's rubber. It is made to be able to withstand with oxygen tanks. We've had that. I've had that for over, I've had those masks for over 20 years. And I make sure I just keep extra tanks for the oxygen to be able, and this was great for chemical warfare, for all forms of nanofibers, anything that was in the air that was even to the smallest minuscule fiber. It disallows for you to be able to breathe that in area wise. Okay, so hey Nada. So you know, I always suggest, if you are, you know, many of you are part, some of the people here are from my prepper community, so this is kind of like singing to the choir, you know. So you all know, but it was necessary to be able to live cohesively and be prepared for whatever. I just make sure I share this with you. So having that, the gas masks are phenomenal, but what they have made sure to do is to oh yes, Mork and Mindy, totally thinking about that. Nano. They look like fleas, because they are. They're little fleas, little metal fleas. Okay. So what I wanted to say is, I'm going to get in the conversation. I will give some tips on what to do after. This isn't a channel where I promote anything that I can't try to remedy. My point in sharing a lot of times is to let you know what's going on, and then to give you some resolve with some sort of institution of, you know, remedy to whatever we go through. Okay, so we're going to get into this Insectilians infestation and how they've been geoengineering the basic cyborg humanoid, that, you know, you're starting to see people act as if they are out of sorts, and it's because they are literally out of biological field. They are changing, and they've been biologically engineered through time, by breathing in these fibers, being incepted, because the fibers go underneath your skin. And some of the allergic reactions, which you'll notice is, the allergic reactions a lot of times you get are, Mogellons is an allergic reaction where the fibers actually cause hives. I've gotten them, and I've talked about the journey of me moving to Florida and having more of that than I had previously when I was living in further north. Okay, so basically the fibers, they aren't workable, but it's almost like you transferring little parts of a robot. So how do you do that? You take little bits and pieces of metal, and eventually you put them together. Okay, so how do you do that? What they've learned through the magnetic energy, through the electromagnetic infiltration, sound frequency, and light frequency, they've learned to geoengineer these little bots, and basically put them together by your own lack of knowledge of you helping and assisting them, making you into, helping transhumanism. And we've talked about this. Okay, so it gets underneath your skin. These little nanofibers, they react to the light, the blue field on your phone. I told you, I just took it off because my blue field, this is the blue field on your phone. I just took it off to show you. This is what you should have on your phone. It should be a blue shield. If not, the baby should have glasses with the blue field, but you should keep this on. What this does is this interfaces with the nanofiber. So if you don't have the blue shield on your phone, it will start to, the blue field on your phone will interface with the little fibers underneath your skin. That's what's required. And many of you are what do you call it, alkaline. So because they've projected and promoted an alkaline living, you thought you were doing it and it was for your best life. Let me tell you, family, being alkaline is healthy, but it also assists with allowing for your pH to be to a certain level that allows for these nanofibers to kind of put themselves together, to engineer themselves and place themselves together. So by you having a phone and being unaware and not putting a blue shield on your phone to block the lighting that also helps to geoengineer these little bots, then you are eating and making your pH really a heightened amount of them. They were able to basically hijack your synapses, and then you have beings like Karens and people who are very low field and genetic dexterity anyway, and they're more takeoverable. Okay, I made that word up. I'm not an idiot. I just like making up words because it seems righteous to me. Okay, so that being said, I want to make sure you, cancer can't live in alkaline bodies, but biobots do. Do you see how they mess with you? This is a sick part about these bastards, about these geoengineering. Oh my God, Elijah, thank you, my love. Oh, I appreciate, my love. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. What you should know about these bastards is that they have covered every inch. So what they'll do, and you'll see this in your toothpaste, you'll see it and so on, even in deodorants, they'll give you some amazing things and they'll take things out. They'll say, oh, we'll take out all of the aluminum out of your deodorants, but then we'll add something like to disallow you to neutralize another metal that they'll give you another name for. Right? So they'll give you something, but they won't, they'll make it seem like everything's clean and clear, but then they're messing you up in another arena. It's very bait and switch. It's very bait and switch. Even with the deodorants, it's hijacked. The one thing with cancer is a fungus. Cancer is something that can live in a very acidic body, but nobody tells you that it is a fungi. And a lot of the Magellans and all these things are fungi friendly. And the fungi is also very cohesive to some of the nanobots that we interface with, because a lot of us are fungus overrun. Sugar helps to build funguses. Eating a certain way, having a lower pH, yes, more acidic makes you more fungi friendly. But at the same point, you having all these funguses along with your eating a certain way leads you to forms of cancer. So at one point, heightened up your alkalinity is fine. That's good for a biological body to keep yourself alkaline, but you aren't taking in consideration the basic, thank you, Olivia, I appreciate it, my love. You're not taking in consideration the assault, technology-wise, that they can utilize the fact that you're being alkaline. So you being hyperalkaline makes you more susceptible to forms of electronic infiltration, and you being too acidic makes you infiltratable by funguses and fungi. Do you see how they work? So remember, we talked about the battle of the polarities, being too much one way and too much. Remember, I don't know if you read The Little Bears. We got any little ones in the house? Big up to anyone in the bear. Remember, you read The Little Bears and you talked about Goldilocks, and Goldilocks came in the house. I like to share this. My mother was a teacher, so let me just say this. It helps me to share with you from the way that I used to learn from my mom and my dad. The three little bears, what Goldilocks came in the house, what'd she say? She came in the house and it was 3 bowls of porridge, right? One bowl of porridge was too hot, right? And she didn't want to consume that, right? She couldn't. Then one bowl was too cold. Middle, she had a bowl that was just right. We have to make sure that we aren't going too far or left. Remember the projections, we're living in duality, and we're living in a time where polarities are collapsing. So whenever you go too far right, you are an extreme version of something that will eventually cause issues on the too far left. because the flow will always go, when you bow right, the pendulum will always go too far left. The point of returning to 0 point is remaining somewhere in the middle. Why I share that with you is because it's the same with pH and with the promotion of Atkins. Remember, they were promoting protein. Eat a lot of protein. A couple of years ago, oh, make sure you eat a lot of meat. Don't eat anything else. You eat a lot of protein, and then people were getting heart attacks, and they were having issues, and they were having gout, and forms of gout and all these other things. Then later on, oh, be vegan. Mind you, remember, it's very, very far right and left. Be totally a meat eater, or be an archaic, and be totally, totally a vegan. Those are extremes, family, and that isn't natural. Why aren't they promoting for you to be a vegetarian? Vegetarianism would be more cohesive for someone who's just basically coming out of meat eating or flesh eating, wouldn't it? Why wouldn't they promote you to ease into a lifestyle and find a healthy cohesion that it was kind of beneficial to you because you were incorporating the things that were necessary to keep your system well stocked? Okay, so why do I share that story with you? To give you an idea of the extremes. So yes, flexitarianism is what I do with my children. Why? Is because I make sure I allow for what's necessary for the building blocks in their body to allow them to grow, and make sure they're stockpiling the nutrients that will allow for them, if they get sick or anything, to be able to be on deck if necessary, if they're ever depleted too far left or right based on sicknesses or ailments later in life. Okay, many of us have stockpiled because we ate more healthy back in the days as opposed to now. Okay, so why I sidebarred off that, I just wanted to kind of bring that into alignment, because yes, being too alkaline is not healthy at this point. If you are too acidic, yes, you have to kick up most people are very acidic from eating archaic, very caveman-like diets. So yes, you kick up your alkalinity to kind of balance your system out. But once you gain a certain healthy pH that is not too high and not too low, you can kind of maintain a more flexitarian, a more healthy, cohesive diet that allows for certain forms of protein, if not meat staples, but other ones. So flexitarian is what I promote in my own household with my little ones, because I know the balance is necessary. I wouldn't want to do anything unhealthy with them otherwise. And especially when I've been pregnant, I've made sure that I eat more flexitarian than being an extreme. Okay, that's just going into that. So let's go back into Mogellans and the nanobots, the cyborgs that they're building. So you know how we have Build-A-Bear? We have Build-A-Bot. Okay, so we have Build-A-Bots going on right now. We've got basically the Insectilians promoting the Build-A-Box. And what you don't realize that many people aren't understanding, as the Chinois, those are the Insectilian hybrids. They're hybrids, mostly Insectilian. They have a very scientific fielded mind with a lack of connection to humanity. Okay, they have a connection to mankind because mankind is a kind of man that is still in cohesion with transhumanism. So of course, mankind does well with Insectilians rather than they do well with humankind. Humankind is who their eugenicists are trying to murder, kill, or control. Okay, murder, kill, or control. That's who the eugenicists are targeting. Those who are humanoids, the people that try to save trees, the people who feel connected to water and the safety of the plants and the insects, the people who feel a connection to Mother Tiamat, who when she shakes and shimmers, we feel it in our bodies. We feel the temperature change. We feel the rain when it's about to come. Those are humanoids. Okay, the Insectilians only want to study, research, and alter humanoids. Okay, they alter you. That's why it's so interesting that everyone wants to archaically blame reptilians for everything. Why aren't you hearing about the Insectilians, family? It's in our language. It's even in our basic living structure. Colonizing. Who colonizes? Do reptiles colonize or do bugs colonize? Why do you talk about bugging? Oh, the phone is bugged. Where do we get that from? The forms of communication, sonic communication. That's all bug technology. Okay? Basically, the bugs have been ruling without any sort of outward acknowledgement that they coexist here. The Insectilians are here and they are part of the main ruling class. And when we get into the fact that insectilians are here and they've been doing things covertly, that's how insects live. They don't live outwardly because we would try to swat them. We would try to get rid of them. Insects live covertly in very hidden ways. And the ways that they colonize is very, very monotonous. It's very, very structured, and it's very, very successful. Okay, so this being said, I want to talk about the masks that are being created. And as you know, I think big up to the Sea Star who shared the nano pads. Many of you who have your menses, I think we shared it. I think I shared it. Can you guys remind me? Did I share it? I think I shared it both on IG, the picture of the pads, and I also shared it on my community in, didn't I, Apollonia? I think I shared it in, on the picture. I did, right? On the picture in my YouTube. Okay, why would you want to get nano pads? Why would you allow these little nanofibers to have any access to your inner portals? Right? That's a form of hijacking. That's allowing a way to hijack you. It's the same with the masks. Do you realize that a lot of these masks that the Chinois are sending over here free in charge? Do you notice that all these masks are being freed, that they are giving to you free in the grocery stores and any of the places that have requirements for you to use? Do you realize that they are making mandatory for people to wear masks all around the place when it's unnecessary, and it isn't? Is after the fact. It's like wearing a condom after you've already had unprotected sex. This is what they're telling you to wear a mask after you've had all kinds of sexual explicities, and now they're telling you to put a mask after the fact. Okay, you really have to take that in consideration. So make sure that when you look at the mask and you purchase. Now, first of all, okay, so let me backtrack. Most masks that are given and that are being promoted and being massive distributed, having a mass distribution of them, are coming from Chinois' neck of the woods. It's amazing to me that the common sense isn't quite there, or people are suffering from forms of maybe just ignorance. Why would you take anything from a country that you supposedly think brought about the cucarachas? Why would you allow a country that supposedly, we know that it was, the cucarachas, the T virus was already geoengineered. It had a patent, it's different forms of it, and it was being disseminated to try to keep the numbers down of Borgs that are over in Chinois' neck of the woods. Now, mind you, be careful. Stop calling people Chinese, Chinois that aren't. There are many different Asiatic people. There are people from Polynesia. There are people from Japan. There are people from Thailand. There are people from Guam. There are people from the even the Samoan, Polynesian islands. There are people from Hawaii. These people look very Asiatic. Be careful. Know the different gene pools. It's like us in the Caribbean. If you tell somebody you're an islander, they think you're Jamaican. There's so many different islands. You know what I mean? I could be from the Polynesian islands. I could be from, Aruba. I could be from, St. Kitts. I could be from, Guadeloupe. I could be from St. Lucia. People have a tendency, due to ignorance and lack of traveling, and also being very limited cognitively, to assume things based on their limitation in their perception of others. Okay. There are many different Asiatics. We want to make sure that we're designating what I consider to be what I'm targeting to only the Chinois. Okay, very different people. There are Korean people. There are many different type of Asiatics, just like there's many different type of brown people. My first language was French. My family came from the French Caribbean. They migrated through South America. There are other French people from other areas, from Quebec, from Mozambique, from Montreal, from France, from different parts of France. Just be able to be a little more expansive. Because what you're noticing out here with people having biases and prejudices, what you'll notice a lot of times is they're very limited cognitively, and they're not very traveled. Traveled people have an understanding of the diversity of people, and the diversity in their nationality, tongue, and religious base. Okay, they understand that. Okay, limited people can only call people, they say the word, excuse my language, niggers rather than nega. Okay, they're very limited. So be mindful when I'm speaking about Chinois, I'm only speaking about the Chinois. Okay, so going back to the nanofibers, you do know there's a lot of masks. Well, haven't seen masks that are not. There are all the most of the masks. Most, I won't say all. Most of the masks are coming from Chinois' neck of the woods. You do know that they use nanofibers in their production of these masks. When I first gave you the intel about the cucarachas, I did state to you to get your mask immediately, and also to get it where it was a cloth that you can insert your own what do you call it, your own filter. Okay, so this is one of the masks. I have lipstick on it here. This is one of the masks. This is my mate's mask. He's so sexy. Big up to my mate. This is his mask. And yes, he has lipstick in it because it is what it is. This is his mask. He wears this. I keep his mask in my car, and he has this in his car. Okay, we have the mask, and we make sure we do inserts. Now, with the inserts that we had, we made sure we bought them independently, and also we had them from before, and we washed them in salt. Okay, we keep them in salt. Remember, big up to our brethren in Jamaica. The nurses in Jamaica were the ones who talked about soaking the mask in salt. It kills things upon entry. Salt is amazing, and it's really disgusting to me that they keep people away from beaches and from places that the ionosphere is so kinetic, and that's very healing. Even when my father was a little boy in St. Lucia, his grandmother, if the children had colds, my grandmother would bring her children, my aunt and my uncles, over to the beach to go swimming in the salt water. And when they swam in the salt water, the cold was gone in 2.5 seconds. Salt water, beach water is very, very healthy for you. It helps to allows for the respiratory, kind of clears out your respiratory system. Same thing why you put saline in your nose too. Okay, so for that reason,